presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
Brad Miller has been on quite the power surge since July 1st, belting 10 home runs, third most in the major leagues. Tonight, Brad returns to the cleanup spot again as the Rays look to get back on the winning track versus the Minnesota Twins. Tonight the homestand continues. Rays still looking for that first winning homestand. They need a victory, at least one, in the next two games to accomplish that. Coming in, they have won 5 and dropped 3. And tonight, the middle game of this series between the Rays and the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Good to have you looking in. The Rays going after a victory after letting last night's game get away from them. Brad Miller, for the 5th consecutive game, will be in the cleanup spot, and really, why not?
Home runs in his last 3, 5 in his last 7 games. I mean, you're talking about a hitter right now in the middle of that lineup that is focused and is looking to impact the team in any way that he can. And really, he's doing it with the bat right now with that loud contact. You see right there the 5 home runs last 7. Like I said previously, 3 in a row, and they've been big ones. You know, you go back 2 games ago, it was that one right there, a 3-run homer in the 8th that would give the Lees a raid they would not relinquish. Hit a big one last night to give the Rays a 2-1 lead. Of course, they wouldn't hold on to it, but he's had a lot of home runs most recently and a lot of big home runs. And for Chris Archer, as the Rays look to get back in the win column, not a bad guy to run out to the mound against this Twins team, because in 5 starts, the record's 4-1. The ERA is 1.78, and Chris Archer has been throwing the ball much better as of late. And let's see tonight if he can put a complete outing together against the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, and you could expect him to turn that win-loss record around at home. He's pitched much better than his home record. Kevin Kiermaier's been up in that number 2 spot already. The Rays feeling the offensive impact of that. Todd Kalas will have more on that in a moment.
Getting ready for this one in that number 2 spot, his new place in the Rays lineup, and also patrolling center field so well. The Platinum Glove winner, of course, for the Rays in center. Now, when you break down this season, right now the Rays are 20 games below 500. During that stretch, the worst in franchise history, they went 3-24. They were missing some pieces. One of those pieces they were missing was Kevin Kiermaier. So they're 1 game over 500, the other 81 games, but 21 under during that 27-game stretch. And here's the difference with and without Kevin Kiermaier. He's played more games than they have been without him, but in those games with him, the ERA is almost 2 runs per game better, and the opponent's batting average almost 60 points lower. We talked with tonight's starter Chris Archer about Kevin Kiermaier. He said it is noticeable when he is in center field.
He's a difference maker, and he would be a difference maker on any team, on any team's success. I mean, look at the play that he made yesterday. That's a double for any other center fielder in the league. I mean, he's head and heels above even a Mike Trout or other guys that are supreme talents out there. He's head and heels above those guys. So, and then he makes the guys around him their job a little easier because he can cover the gaps, they can cover the line, and it makes it click.
He is a difference maker out there in center field. We're ready for baseball. Rays and the Twins with Chris Archer on the mound in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Enjoy all the action with Dwayne Staats and Brian Anderson right around the corner.
Chris Archer on his way to the mound to face the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota in at 44-65. The Rays 44-64. And for Archer, start number 24. Here's the lineup he'll face. Presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Brian Dozier is red hot. Will lead it off at second, followed by Joe Mauer. Mauer at first, and Max Kepler in the third spot in right. The DH, Miguel Sano. Eddie Rosario is in center. Eduardo Escobar at shortstop. Jorge Polanco at third. Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Danny Santana in left. Real bad night.
And for Chris Archer taking the mound tonight, you focus on the positives, and that is the fact that in 5 starts against the Twins, a 4-run record, a 1.78 earned run average, and although the record wouldn't show it, Chris Archer's done his best work here at Tropicana Field on the season with a 3.03 earned run average.
Yeah, just 1-8 at home, which belies that ERA at 3.03. And Brian Dozier will lead it off. He starts tonight with a 14-game hitting streak, extended it last night with a triple, and the Buick GMC big matchup. Dozier's 14-game hitting streak, an average overall at 263 and 22 home runs.
Well, you saw 6 during the streak, almost a run batted in per game. And he took that average when the Rays saw him, that average in the beginning of June, 205, now up to 263.
There's a strike after 2 misses up. He finds the zone. Archer does. 2-1. Dozier's been using the entire field, including hitting the ball the other way as he did last night with some authority.
And what we're seeing now is what has played Chris Archer the majority of this season. Early in ball games, having trouble getting the fastball into the zone and typically missing way above, as he's now 3-1.
Tap foul. So full count. Archer's been a little better recently at the start of games. Against Kansas City, had a 1-2-3 14 pitch first. And he strikes out Dozier. 3-2 slider gets him.
Let's take a look at that Rays defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source, and in the outfield left to right we have Nick Franklin, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield third to first, Evan Longoria, Brad Miller, Logan Forsythe, and Tim Beckham, with Bobby Wilson behind the plate.
Bobby Wilson back in a Rays uniform out of Seminole High School. Joe Mauer takes a pitch upstairs. Well, Mauer has done just about any and everything he wants to do at the plate here at the Trop throughout his career. On base percentage over 500 here at the Trop.
I mean, in 31, listen, the last time he did not reach base safely in this ballpark was in 2012.
Yep, that was April of 2012. How about that?
That's absurd.
He got into the act last night. On base 3 times, including the double in the 9th inning to drive home a couple.
Well, that's where the pitch recognition of Joe Mauer comes into play. You know, Ryan Garten, first 2 strikes in that at bat were the curveball. He took them. Third one, waited for it, recognized it, shot that ball into left for the double that knocked in a run, and that's what he will do. The pitch recognition, the bat control, all of that tremendous, and that's why a guy like Joe Mauer, you have to stay out of patterns. Cannot pitch him the same way all night and expect to get him out consistently.
2-2 now on Mauer. And a little piece of the slider foul. Max Kepler is on deck. He's been red hot, held hitless last night. But what a bat he's been swinging for Minnesota. Hopper short left, Miller out, Franklin in. Miller makes the call. 2 gone.
But Franklin's like, I know I'm not out here a lot, but should I maybe take that? I'm moving in. Brad's like, listen, I'm at short tonight. I got it.
So 2 up, 2 down. Max Kepler. First pitch strike. Kepler 0 for 4 last night with a walk and 3 strikeouts. And here's a guy who has been red hot, including that 3 home run game against Cleveland. And not a good swing at that one.
No, you know, when you think about the swings last night off Blake Snell's slider and even the fastball when he set it up, and just not recognizing pitches here so far in this series.
A ball, 2 strikes. Kepler getting time from Phil Cuzzi, the plate umpire. Last time Archer faced the Twins was here at the Trop. That was in August of last year. Struck out 12 and suffered the loss, the one loss he has against this team. And a foul ball. He got just a little bit of that one to stay alive.
Bounced that ball right into the chest of Bobby Wilson, and a little pirouette out on the mound by 22.
Two and two. The count is full. Got ahead of Kepler. And now 3-2 with Sano on deck. Lined foul beyond the bullpen. So this has turned into a little bit more of an extended at bat than Archer would like after having the early advantage in the count.
That's why he absolutely needs to make a pitch here, end this inning where it's at, already at 20 pitches, when it looked like it was going to be real quick.
Kepler battles and fouls one back.
You got to give Kepler some credit here, because the first couple of strikes, it didn't look like this was going to be very long at bat at all, and he's been able to come back and foul off some tough pitches, take some others.
This is the 10th pitch of this at bat. Wilson will throw him out to complete the strikeout. And 1, 2, 3 go the Twins. Rays coming in to hit. Presented by your Southern Ford dealers. The Rays tonight again have Logan Forsythe leading off and Kevin Kiermaier hitting second. Evan Longoria third in front of the cleanup man Brad Miller, Nick Franklin, Corey Dickerson, Steven Souza Jr., Tim Beckham, and Bobby Wilson completing tonight's lineup.
Well, top prospect Jose Barrios taking the mound tonight here for the Minnesota Twins, making his 6th start of the season. 5 of those came in a stretch between April the 27th until May the 16th. Went back down to Rochester, continued great work down there, came back up on August the 1st and threw a very nice game. 6 innings, 3 earned runs, didn't walk anybody in that ball game, and looking to build off of that start here tonight.
And Logan Forsythe faces the young right-hander. First pitch is outside. Forsythe hitting .275, starts the night with 10 home runs. And a base hit his first time up last night, and that led to a run. There's a base hit off the fastball line right back into center. And the Rays put the leadoff man aboard.
By the way, before we get to the Twins defense, how many times has Forsythe gone right back up the middle and this homestand, a hit very similar to that one there? Unbelievable. I mean, how many times, especially early in games, right back up the middle. He's dropped a number of line drives within about a 5-foot radius out of that leadoff spot.
Well, there's the distribution of hits, more to center than anywhere else, but as that indicates, he'll hit the ball all over the place, and pretty true in his approach. Kevin Kiermaier takes the first pitch away. Two and 0. Jose Barrios, who was out of the June draft out of Puerto Rico. It's from Bayamon. 22 years old. And the Twins have high hopes for him.
You know, it's trying to harness the good stuff. You know, the fastball is going to sit in the low to mid 90s. You know, he can get it up a little higher than that, but he's going to pitch that 93, 94, 95. But the problem has been counts like this, falling behind early.
Finds the zone with that one. 3-1.
He features a fastball. He calls it a curveball, more of a slurve than anything else, and a changeup that really is his put-away pitch. But the problem is when you're in these types of counts, and that's what he's been finding here at the big league level, pitching from behind doesn't allow him to get to the very good changeup.
Again to first on Forsythe. There goes the runner, and the pitch is fouled out of play. So Forsythe breaking on the 3-1. The fastball to Kiermaier fouled.
And if you're going to try to run on a guy, especially a young pitcher, and he throws over a couple of times, then certainly you say to yourself, he's not going to throw over 3. This is the time to go. I think that is a lot of what you're going to see down the stretch here by the Rays, is being aggressive on the base paths. We've already seen Kiermaier pick up the stolen base opportunities and pick up stolen bases.
Runner goes again, a strike call, and the ball pops away from Suzuki in at second with a steal. It's number 6 for Logan Forsythe.
Boy, that looked like they had a chance to get him too, because it's a fastball, good pitch to handle, strike call, and Suzuki, as he opens up that catcher's mitt, just cannot come up with a clean transfer. Gets the Rays a runner in scoring position here with 1 out.
Evan Longoria, the hitter. Evan right now 2 for his last 27. 0 for 4 last night. He did have a double in Thursday's game against Kansas City, and here he is with a chance to put the Rays out in front. And there's the breaking pitch, in for a strike. Foul ball back, fastball, 1-2.
Let's quickly set the Minnesota Twins defense for you here tonight. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, it's Danny Santana, Eddie Rosario, and Max Kepler. Across the infield, third to first, Jorge Polanco, Eduardo Escobar, Brian Dozier, and Joe Mauer, with Kurt Suzuki behind the plate.
Pitch popped up. Escobar, the shortstop, and he handles that one for the out.
That's how you go after a really good hitter. You know, after falling behind, Barrios comes in, curveball strike, fastball swinging strike, then a changeup right in a row to get the pop up in the infield.
Well, there's that changeup.
Yep, you see how he just, that hand rakes over the top of it. You get that backward spin. That one didn't have the kind of life that we've seen on other changeups, you know, the video you take a look at, but it was certainly effective, retiring Longoria.
Now Brad Miller sitting with 20 home runs. And there's a strike to start this at bat. 2 hits last night. Miller singled in the first and homered in the 6th inning. Shoots it foul the other way. Here's the home run last night.
Got that breaking ball down and in. And right now, Brad Miller's seeing the ball well. He's hot in a cleanup spot. This is the 5th game in a row. The last 3 he's hit a home run. 5 in his last 7 games.
Ball, 2 strikes. And he hits them a long way. The average distance of his home runs over 416 feet. Takes it too high. 2-2. Franklin would be next if Miller could keep the inning going against Barrios. Ground ball right side. That ball's going to skip off Dozier into short right, allowing Forsythe to score. And the Rays are on the board. Forsythe scores from second.
Boy,
Reflecting off Dozier.
Yeah, what a break. Really, that should have been a ground ball at end of the inning. But you see Joe Mauer vacate first base. And so Barrios is going to have to cover. And Brian Dozier, I don't know if that ball deflected off the mid of Mauer. Did that hit? Maybe a little bit, because it ended up, you know, coming back a little bit on Dozier. He ended up overrunning that chopper. And you just wonder if it deflected off the glove of Mauer and the direction was changed by a couple of inches.
Backhand at first, Miller. Well, a base hit for Miller. He gets a run batted in. And then scrambling back into first there. Kunze with a little conversation going with the Minnesota bench.
Didn't look real happy about what he had to say either. Very stern.
Well, he straightened it out. Mr. Franklin in there for a strike. Started to go, but checked in plenty of time. It's 1-1. Rays with a first inning run to take the lead. The count is 2-1. The RBI for Miller is 45th of the year. Ground ball down to first, and Mauer steps on the bag, retiring the Rays in the first. They get a run and lead 1-0. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer, celebrating 75 summers of living 4x4 ever. And by your local Toyota dealer. Rays with a 1-0 lead onto the second inning, and the DH Miguel Sano leads off for Minnesota. There's the first pitch. That's a strike. Pitch slider. Well, Archer had a 1-2-3 first inning. One and one. He made a little over 20 pitches in that inning, but got through without allowing a run. And that's now 7 of his last 8 starts in which he has gotten through the first without allowing a run. And as we mentioned, for a good part of the year, that had been a major issue for him. High first inning ERA. Into the dirt. It's 2-2. Rosario next, and then Escobar. Wide. The count is full.
Let's take a look. There's that slider just off the plate. Bobby Wilson doing his best to bring it back.
Cut a foul by Sano. We saw how strong he is last night. Hit His 16th home run of the year.
Well, he had a big night last night. This Twins comeback win.
And is out on strikes. Now the slider again, 3-2. And that's strikeout number 3 for Archer.
Well, nothing special about this pitch. In fact, not one of his better sliders, but the change of speed. The swing by Sano had no conviction. You see right there how late it was, feeling for the baseball, just didn't recognize the pitch, and more than likely sitting on that fastball.
Rudy Rosario takes the pitch too close, 1-0. Rosario with 7 home runs, including the pinch hit home run last night. Pinch hit in the 7th inning and hit that big blow. And he's ahead in the count, 3-0 here.
He's got 7 pinch hit appearances on the season. 2 of them have gone for home runs. In fact, the only 2 hits that he has as a pinch hitter are home runs. And he got a changeup there from Ramirez and handled it.
And there's a 4-pitch walk to him. So the Twins have their first base runner, and it comes on a 4-pitch walk. Rosario is an aggressive hitter up there and doesn't walk a lot, but he walked on 4 pitches there.
Well, all 4 misses were pretty extreme, well out of the zone. Nothing really close.
Here's Escobar. Strike 1. The walk for Rosario was only the 6th of the year, and 2 of those have been intentional walks. A 2-strike count to Escobar. Into the dirt, and a nice block by Wilson. Good job right there on the slider in the dirt.
That ball well short, and with Rosario, you get an easy read like that. From his secondary league, he can see that that ball's going to end up in the dirt, and that's where the anticipation comes in to head to second. But Bobby Wilson would have had a great chance to get him there because he was fundamentally sound, kept the ball close.
Runner goes. Pitch fouled out of play. Rosario 4 or 5 in the running department.
16 total attempts on Archer, 11 of them successful. Does have a pickoff.
Looked it into short left for Franklin. Escobar's the 2nd out. Rosario back to first. The 3rd baseman is Jorge Polanco. He scored a couple runs last night, hitting an even 300 in the 19 games he's played for the Twins. Is a strike. into center, line drive. Rosario's going to head to third. The throw will go through, and it is in time. Kiermaier cuts down Rosario at third. A one-hop throw. Tom Hallion on the call, and another look.
He got him.
So a great throw by Kiermaier. Paul Molitor decides to forget about taking a look at the replay. Nice play by Kiermaier and an excellent throw to cut down Rosario, trying to advance to third. Bottom of the second coming, 1-0 Rays. Help from Kevin Kiermaier to cut down Rosario at third. Rays will go into the bottom of the second, leading 1-0, with Corey Dickerson leading off. And the pitch is down. You will not see a much better play from a center fielder and throw than what we just saw to end the top half of this inning. Two and 0 to Dickerson. Souza Jr. next, and then Beckham. He's facing the right-hander, Jose Barrios. Play 2-1.
Well, this is what you're talking about, Dwayne. First of all, you've got Kevin Kiermaier right here. Now watch the jump. It starts with the way he goes after the baseball. I mean, he goes after it hard. Now watch him throw away from his body, almost on the run. That is ridiculous athleticism on the throw. Great jump in closing to the baseball off the bat. That's what made the play.
Yeah, he did everything right, and a couple things. A display of the extraordinary.
Yeah. I mean, you're not throwing with a whole lot of momentum there. You're moving towards right field as you make that throw. But not only that, if he goes after the ball any less hard than he did, the throw's not going to get there in time. But he went after that ball like he was going to try to catch it on the fly. Just absolute great effort.
Well, anticipating a possible play at third from the very get-go. That's how he plays center field, and that's why he's the best center fielder, period. Dickerson sends a fly ball to left, caught by Santana for the first out in the bottom of the second.
He always thinks 2 bases ahead, whether it's as a fielder or as a hitter.
Yep.
You know, the single's already spoken for. I'm going for 2 unless you can keep me at first. The base hit with a runner on first, he's going to get to second, but he's not going to get to third.
Yeah, that's just a almost second nature mindset for him that makes him so outstanding. Boy, to unleash a throw against your momentum, against your body, a strong throw and an accurate throw at that, really something special.
You know why he did? Is because even though he's moving towards right field, he was able to square his hips. And when you square your hips, you're going to max out what you can do from where your momentum is taking you. But he was able to square up the hips, and that's what caused the accurate throw.
Down the line, fair off the bat of Souza Jr. toward the corner. He's digging for 2 and will arrive ahead of the throw. 14th double of the year for Souza Jr. and the Rays have a man in scoring position.
Going to get a breaking ball right here. You see it just kind of hanging. Not a lot of finish on that pitch. It sat up there for Souza Jr. And so he's able to get out and around it, keep it fair into the corner. And another chance.
Run home in the first. Now an opportunity in the second. Tim Beckham hitting 8th and playing first base with a chance to add to this early lead. Breaking pitch wide.
That's where the slurve comes from. Not so much a curveball as something that's just kind of sweeping. We see some that are sharp with good break, other ones that just kind of roll.
Tries it again and misses down.
And when you see him throw that pitch, he's not driving towards home plate. He's kind of spinning off towards the Rays dugout, kind of carrying that pitch with him, which is where you get the
that pitch.
Yeah, that's where you get the slurve end of things, and you don't get very sharp break.
3-0. Breaking pitches out of the zone. Then he missed with a fastball. Bobby Wilson is on deck. Four-pitch walk. Beckham heads to first. First and second with 1 away. Suzuki to the hill to talk with his young right-hander. Wilson had been with the Texas Rangers, and when they made the deal for Lucroy, he turned out to be the odd man out, and the Rays gladly welcoming him back. It's a ball.
Now just watch where Barrios, and we'll get to it here in a second.
Two and 0 here. Fastball missed there.
Here's the breaking ball, and this is where the inconsistency starts to come from as you see him start to spin towards the dugout. Look where he ends up, so far offline, and that's where the command issues start to come in. 2-0 count, coming off of a walk, coming off of a hanging breaking ball.
And a high foul, well foul. Out of play, 2-1.
With the power that Barrios has, you'd like to see him driving towards home plate, because when you're headed that way and immediately starting to spin off, your release point has to be absolutely perfect on every pitch, or you're going to be all over the zone. There's no other way around it.
Well, he walked Beckham on 4 pitches. He's behind Wilson, 3-1. strike, the very bottom of the zone. Wilson trying to coax the walk.
Got the back knee.
Pickoff play at second, and out there, Souza Jr. picked off second base. Dozier breaking to the bag, and boy, the Rays lose a big base runner there.
It'll be interesting to see if the Rays take a look at this, but you're right. You can see Dozier calling for it, open hand. I don't know if that right hand was able to sneak back in. Let's take a look. Boy, that is close, too close.
Did he get back? The Rays are going to accept the call as it was made.
Like that right arm bounced just a little bit right before the tag, and that hand just off the edge of second base. That's a terrible base runner to lose there.
You lose a man in scoring position. It's the second out of the inning. Now 3-2 to Wilson. Runner breaks and the pitch popped up. Foul. That will carry out a play.
You've got a pitcher on the mound that has been struggling with the command and quality of his pitches in this inning. The hanging breaking ball that got Souza out there in the first place, the walk to Beckham, falling behind Bobby Wilson, getting a borderline pitch his way, or he would have walked him already. And you give him that out. That's tough.
3-2, and it's skied to the right side. Kepler makes that grab. So the Rays do not score. They lead 1-0.
Third inning baseball. Rays are leading the Twins 1-0. Couple of roster moves, including the guy you see on your screen there, Desmond Jennings. That knee wasn't getting much better. The roster moves taking place between last night's game and tonight's game. Desmond goes to the DL for the second time in just about a month, as this time it's the knee, last time the hamstring. Eddie Romero had that one pitch where he fell off the mound, kind of strained his back, so he goes on the DL. Mikey Matuk is back, guys, and also Danny Farquhar. So those are your roster moves prior to tonight.
Kurt Suzuki leads off the third. Ground ball to short. Miller comes up with this one. So Suzuki's out. Brad Miller to Tim Beckham. Danny Santana is on his way to the plate. Santana hitting .260. Switch hitter, one of 3 in the lineup for Minnesota. They could put 4 switch hitters in the lineup. They had Grossman in there last night, and Santana did not play. So 3 in there again tonight. It's 1-1. Archer coming off Monday's outing, a loss to Kansas City in which he gave up 3 runs in 7 1/3. Archer comes in 5 and 15. That's the line for the last time out. Forsythe cannot come up with that one, trying to move to his left. And the ball came right up his arm and bounded away.
Rare. Logan Forsythe so good out there at second base, showing good range, and he moves over glove side. Looks like he's got his sights set on it, and it comes up right off the wrist, heel of the glove.
Santana picks up a base hit on that one. Second hit given up by Archer to go with the walk. Brian Dozier down to third. Longoria to Forsythe out there. Beckham out there. So the quick double play ball on the first pitch to Dozier. Rays will hit at the bottom of the third, leading by a run. Timeless moment brought to you by Coors Banquet. This day in 04. Tampa Bay wins on an obstruction call. Carl Crawford at third, 1 out. And on the Tino Martinez fly ball to Raul Ibanez in shallow left, there was a bluff of a start home and then a return to third. Ibanez made the throw back into the infield, and Paul Emmel rules that the shortstop, Jose Lopez, covering third base, attempted to block Crawford's view of Ibanez making the catch, so Crawford's awarded home. Lopez charged with an error, and the Rays win 2-1 in walk-off fashion after they sorted that one out. Rays leading off here in the bottom of the third inning with the leadoff hitter, Logan Forsythe. 0-2, Forsythe, Kiermaier, and Longoria. There were a lot of quizzical faces on that call by Emmel that resulted in the Tampa Bay win on that flashback. A ball, 2 strikes to Logan. Kevin Kiermaier will be next.
Well, second time through, everybody's had a look. Better idea of stuff, spin, release point.
2-2.
That's all you want if you're a lineup facing a guy for the first time. Familiarity.
Yeah, you can know what he throws and an idea of the quality of his pitches, but until you see them, it's just not quite the same.
Well, that is so true. Okay, fastball, curveball, more of a slurvy. It's going to move away from you, and a changeup. They try to put you away. Oh, okay. let me see it.
There's that slurve lifted into left center field. Rosario back there, and he makes the catch. As Forsythe is the first out in the third. Kevin Kiermaier.
Well, when you look at Berrios and the work that he has done in the minor leagues the last 2 seasons, you can see where there's excitement because there's certainly stuff that's there. And then you combine that with the numbers he's put up. You can understand why he has climbed up the list of top prospects, and the Minnesota Twins are awfully excited about having him in the big leagues right now.
Well, when they made the deal moving out Velasco, it was really to make room for him. They've always obviously liked his arm from the time they selected him in June of 2012. Good velocity, good fastball, a changeup in the minor leagues a couple of years ago. A good pitch, although they felt he was tipping it, and they resolved that matter, and that really became a great pitch for him. And as we discussed earlier, and you pointed out, it's getting to the changeup that has been an issue for him.
Yeah, and getting to the changeup, the reason it's been an issue is his command has been spotty, and you can see mechanically why. You know, there are some things to really like about Berrios. There are some things that he's going to have to clean up. You know, even this fastball, he's trying to drive that ball. Look where Suzuki's set up, inner half and up, and that ball ends up and away. Now it gets the result, but that's not where you wanted it, and those are the things that he's working on.
Longoria, big cut on that breaking pitch. Strike one. And again, 0-2.
Yeah, that was the better version right there. Took a little off, 79. That ball started on the inner half, broke all the way to the corner.
There's a long one. Back into deep left. Out of here. Longoria's 24th home run.
This is exactly why pitching coaches used to tell you that they didn't like when you followed up breaking balls with changeups, especially 2 breaking balls. You slow the hitter down, you slow his eyes down just a little bit, and then you give him something straight. Boom. No, nothing fooled there. Look at that. Timing was perfect.
Yeah,
not out in front.
Right into the swing.
Yep.
So a couple breaking balls to get ahead, and then that one's right into Evans' swing, and he hits it out. So it's 2-0. I want to know the count on Brad Miller.
Yeah, that right there too is not getting to the changeup because he hasn't been consistently pitching ahead. So every time they've gotten ahead, it's like, okay, now let's go to the changeup.
Yeah.
It may have not been the right spot just because of the 2 previous pitches.
Yeah, it's how you get to that count.
That's right. That's right. It's not a snapshot in time. Well, with 2 strikes, this is my put away pitch. Well, how did you get to 2 strikes? Slow, slow. Now let's go slow and straight. And you saw Evan Longoria's timing was right on.
Miller pops it into short left. Escobar angles out from shortstop, falls down, but hangs onto it in short left field, retiring the side. But the Rays get a run on the 24th home run of the year by Evan Longoria, and it's 2-0 Tampa Bay. Two-run game. Joe Mauer will open the fourth. Mauer, Kepler, and Sano. So Chris Archer with a 2-0 lead now. Pitches the ball inside to Mauer.
By the way, that gets me every time. In between innings,
Yep.
you know, the grounds crew comes out, kind of tidy up the field. There's always
your favorite time of the evening.
I'm always fooled by it. You know, you see that one guy, he's kind of raking in one small little area, and you're kind of like, dude, what are you doing? You're not really even accomplishing much. And then
it all breaks out.
The rake gets dropped, sunglasses go on.
Yeah, and you're surprised every time.
Little dance party out there, and I'm blown away each and every time.
Yeah, little dance party. 2-1, you kind of get caught up in the crowd. You wait, you know, for that moment when he really gets serious. Crowd reacts. You have to react too.
He did a big move tonight too. Little handspring into a splits.
Yeah.
Crowd went crazy.
2-2 now. It's Kepler on deck. Ground ball. Miller from shortstop. The throw right there to Beckham. One gone in the fourth. Every strikeout Chris Archer records. $25 donated by the Rays. 10 News WTSP and Chris Archer to benefit Berg Baseball and RBI Baseball of Tampa Bay. Make your pledge by going to RaysBaseball.com/Archer. Max Kepler. The pitch is down. One and one. Miguel Sano will be next. Now 2-1. strike, 2-2. There, and the count is full on Kepler. It's popped up. Wilson's after it, and he makes the catch. 2 gone.
Sometimes it can be tough for a catcher, to pick these pop-ups up, right away, try to find him, and you could hear somebody yelling, "Bobby, Bobby, Bobby," let him know that that's in his wheelhouse, and
he had it all the way.
Yes, he did.
Sano, pitch is outside, fastball. Tap, foul ball, 1-1. That's a strike on the outside corner, says Phil Cuzzi. That's a pitch that from time to time Cuzzi will give you that pitch wide. Let's take a look.
Watch Wilson. Freezes it. Strong wrist, freezes it, keeps the meaty part of the glove and hand over the plate.
Sano is out on strikes. 1-2-3. Go the Twins. Rays coming in to hit in the bottom of the inning, leading 2-0. And all youngsters 14 and under get a $2 ticket with the purchase of a fully priced paid adult ticket. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit raysbaseball.com/specials. Franklin takes a strike, bottom of the 4th underway. Off the plate in. Rays got a run in the 1st and another run in the 3rd. They have Franklin, Dickerson, and Souza Jr. coming up in the fourth.
Well, let's see if they can keep the pressure on the young twin starter. Had some opportunities, played it a couple of runs.
Lost a base runner on the pickoff at second in the second inning, and the Rays did not score, leaving a man in that frame.
Yeah, and that looked like an inning that they were starting to build and had a chance maybe to have a bigger inning. Ended up with nothing.
Nick Franklin started the night hitting .290, grounded out his first time.
Well, he's another one of these Rays players that's getting an opportunity, and he's getting it all over the field. To go from first base to left field. He played this guy just about anywhere.
Lifts it into center. Rosario right there straight away making the catch.
And I don't know about you, Dwayne, but it seems to me, from what we've seen in Nick Franklin, it's been a little here, a little there. Seems much more comfortable and confident this go round.
Yeah. Even his approach at the plate, you know, it's not as you don't see a lot of emergency swings and things where you feel at times he's overmatched. I think the confidence level, the comfort level is greater. We're seeing a guy play as if he's a lot more comfortable and confident. Dickerson takes a strike. A breaking ball around the knees.
You know, and you go out there and you try to embrace that opportunity, you know, for versatility, and say, okay, if they wanted you to play all over, we all saw what that did for Ben Zobrist, what kind of player he became, how valuable he was. And so there's a number of different guys on this Rays team right now they're being given that opportunity.
Yep. They're looking for that without question.
Yep.
And Zobrist, and you mentioned him, he really is, you don't want to say poster child, a poster player for that position to really claim it, own it, turn it into what he has turned it into, a career and a moneymaker. One and two the count on Corey Dickerson with one out and the base is empty. And so I think Nick Franklin, there's a guy who hits from both sides of the plate. He's played the infield and the outfield. So he's getting an opportunity. Two here to Dickerson. That's out number two on the strikeout. So 2 up, 2 down. Let's check in with Todd Kalas. Todd, what have you got for us?
Well, here's the update on Nick Franklin with the gloves, guys. He's got 4 of them now. We mentioned earlier in the homestand the Steve Pearce first base glove. He doesn't need anymore. He got his own. But top shelf, he's got his middle infield glove. He's got his new first baseman's glove. And he still has the Steve Pearce outfield glove, which is in play tonight. And now he's got a third baseman's glove. The one on the bottom shelf is now Evan Longoria's backup third baseman's glove. So he's got one from Pearce for the outfield, one from Longo at third. We know Pearce never got the outfield glove back, but it's still in the Rays clubhouse. In fact, Pearce has 2 gloves on the field tonight. Beckham's using the Pearce first base glove tonight, guys.
Here's Souza.
Did you get all that?
Well, I'm glad Souza swung at the first pitch. Fly ball deep, don't have caught finally by Santana. There's going to be a test on that later in the telecast. We're going to diagram that sentence that Todd just gave us. baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer. Celebrating 75 summers of living for by forever. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. All game through 4 innings onto the 5th. Eddie Rosario leads it off. There's a strike to start him. Rosario walked in the 2nd inning and was cut down trying to go to 3rd on the Polanco base hit. Great play by Kiermaier to get Rosario for the 3rd out. 0-2 now.
Now right here,
look.
Yeah, the play of the game. The break on the ball, square the hips, even though he's moving away, take that throw.
You don't get tired of watching something like that. That was excellent. And Rosario's out on strikes. It's the first out here in the 5th. And the 5th strikeout for Chris Archer.
You know, we need to come up with some sort of we need to get Todd back, and we need
Without
to
question, try to straighten that glove situation.
Find out what two gloves are on the bench, who's using them, what position, what's their purpose.
Yeah, all of that was pretty confusing, and I just wanted to find out if we could get Todd and the shot of the gloves in the clubhouse. The one on top of the bench in the middle.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was the all black one.
And who it belonged to?
Well, I'm gonna start telestrating too, and this time hopefully Todd is talking to us.
All right, Todd, you got us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now we want to straighten out. There was a glove.
Yep. Longoria bottom shelf. Longoria bottom shelf.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Now you've got on top, you've got the 3 gloves, and it's the first baseman's mitt is now.
No, that's not a first baseman's glove. That's okay. The one over on the right is.
Yeah, the one on the right is first baseman.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, we were going
seeing
left
the one
to
on
right.
the left. We were confused. I think that's what really
the video.
Yeah, that really
I'm
confused
sorry.
us here.
I didn't realize the order that they were showing them in. I thought it was a wider shot. Okay, so the first baseman's glove is Franklin, and Longoria on the bottom shelf, and then Pierce for the outfield glove, which he's wearing tonight. And then the middle infield glove, of course, is Nick's as well.
Was the outfielder glove the all black or the two-tone?
The one he's wearing tonight, the all black.
And which one was on the
I'm
top
looking
shelf
at Tim
in the
Beckham.
middle?
There you go, all black.
There you go. Hey, there's 2 Pierce gloves out there. Beckham just made the play at first with Steve Pierce's glove, and Franklin's using the Steve Pierce outfield glove. So Steve's still an impact on this team.
We didn't have a locker shot at Beckham.
The Beckham, no, because that was in his locker. He handed it over to Beckham today.
I'm throwing myself out of the booth right now.
1-2. What we're finding out is that Steve Pierce never really left this team. Okay, well, if you get that one, let us know. And it's a ball 2-strike count here. It'd be good to get Polanco to end this inning. Give us a chance to just catch our breaths and figure out what inning we're in and where we are, what the score might be, and who's wearing what glove.
We just tried.
That's a great report, though. 2-2 now. Yeah, very confusing. People running around the bases backward.
Todd's on his way to the booth right now.
And he's not happy. Ground ball foul. Two runs, 4 hits for the Rays. No runs, 2 hits for Minnesota. A little wide. Full count. Polanco extending the at bat. Rays with the single run in the first and another run in the third. That run in the third came on the home run by Longoria. Down to first. That's a nice grab by Beckham. Steps on the bag. 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Some great glove work by Beckham. Great moment. 1999, Tony Gwynn with a base hit off Expo rookie right-hander Dan Smith in the very first inning for career hit number 3,000. Mr. Padre finished the night 4 for 5, passing Roberto Clemente for 21st on the all-time hit list. Tim Beckham, who made the play to end the top of the inning, opens the bottom of the 5th. Ball, no strikes. Beckham, then Bobby Wilson and Logan Forsythe. 2-0. Rays facing the 22-year-old right-hander of the Minnesota Twins, Jose Barrios. Three 3-0. Missed with a breaking ball there, shaking his head a little bit.
Just a continuing struggle finding that strike zone with any consistency.
That's a strike on the outside part of the plate.
And that's not something you see a lot of. Usually when a guy's struggling with his command and struggling with spotting up his pitches, the borderline is not going to go his way, and that certainly was that. Fastball, I mean, right on the outside corner, looked to be just below the knees. You're right at him.
Popped up. Escobar looking for it. Now here comes Santana in from left. Boy, Escobar just lost that one. And when you saw that he had his back to the infield looking up, there was no way. Best thing he could do, just run out of the way.
Yeah, there was, you're absolutely right. First of all, you're following that baseball. As it starts to come down, you look down at the fielders, and this is what you see. Eduardo Escobar, well, he's not going to catch it. Danny Santana floats in and makes that grab.
Bobby Wilson fouling one right back. Strike one. Wilson 239 on the year, did 241 for Texas. Ball and a strike. Count. This is about the same spot. Down the left field line. Will it stay fair? That ball is fair and gone. Bobby Wilson hitting a 3-1 fastball out of here. And the Rays have a 3-0 lead.
Well, as a hitter, when the pitcher's constantly behind in the count, you can start to eliminate pitches. And right now, Barrios only throwing 3, and you're thinking 3-1 on the 9-hole hitter. He's going to come with the fastball. He misses this location, and Bobby Wilson does not. Boy, an absolute bullet right down the line.
The Rays with a couple home runs tonight. Here's Logan Forsythe. Breaking ball for a strike. Two. A couple breaking balls to get out in front of Forsythe. He did that with Longoria and then threw in the changeup and haven't hit it out. Comes fastball this time, and it's 1-2. Fouled out of play. Another fastball. Rays coming in 5-3 on the homestand. They have not had a winning homestand this year. It's 2-2. Foul ball. Forsythe scored the first run of this game when he singled in the first, stole second, and with 2 outs, scored on a base hit by Brad Miller. Longoria homered in the third. Bobby Wilson has homered in the fifth. 2-2 popped up foul, and that's out of play. Rays wrapping up the series tomorrow with Matt Andriese opposing Kyle Gibson, and then it's off to Toronto.
Logan Forsythe changing the scope and style of his swing. All these different pitches, trying to stay alive, just reaching out, poking that ball foul. And waiting for Barrios to make one mistake out over the plate and you jump on it.
And now the count is full.
Look at the pitch distribution all over the zone. Some up, below the zone, in, out. And you're up there wondering what's coming next.
10th pitch of the at-bat is bounce foul. Rays 3 runs, 5 hits tonight. Barrios making his 90th pitch of the night. Tap left side. Scoop by the third baseman Polanco. So on 11 pitches, finally Forsythe is retired. Don't miss your last opportunity to participate in the Rays charity auction. Bidding is now open on the Rays Executive for a Day package. It's a one-of-a-kind experience, bringing you behind closed doors and even taking you behind closed doors and face-to-face with Matt Silverman, Ryan Ault, and Kevin Cash. Proceeds benefit the Tampa General Hospital Foundation and the Rays Baseball Foundation. Visit raysbaseball.com/auction to bid. Kevin Kiermaier looks at a strike. Kevin 0 for 2 tonight. 2 of the 3 strikeouts posted by the young Twins right-hander. 1-1. Fouled out of play. So a 1-2 count. Saw the left-hander Buddy Boshiers warming up in the bullpen. Is strike 3 on Kiermaier. Rays finished in the 5th, but they add to the lead on a home run by Bobby Wilson down the left field line. With a 3-1 fastball out, it's 3-0 Tampa Bay. And belting a home run in the bottom of the 5th inning. Rays picking him up after he had spent the year over in Texas with the Rangers, and when they made their catching deal, he became available.
What are you more impressed with? The home run or the midriff chest protector?
Yeah, that's a pretty nifty chest protector. I mean, I'm going to go with the home run, but in terms of a fashion statement, that's pretty good looking there.
It's like the cutoff.
Yeah. It's like the, what do they call that now? The untuck it?
Yeah.
You know those things?
Yeah.
Don't tuck it?
Right,
know?
the
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah,
But
it's the chest protector version of that.
it's the untuck it shirt that you get at home and then cut the bottom off of. I only know because I'm a big fan of that look right there. That's how all my T-shirts are. But I wear an extra layer underneath so as not to appear to be a complete, one of those guys.
Yeah, well, you're modest. I like the modesty. 2-1 the count.
I'll run with it.
Yeah. Kurt Suzuki, the Minnesota catcher, leading it off. check swing, says Scott Berry.
Let's take a look. Slider down and away, and absolutely held up.
Ball 4, the leadoff man on base for the first time tonight, and it comes on the second walk issued by Chris Archer. Well, the Twins have won 7 of their last 10. They've been playing good baseball, and since the 1st of July, that's 31 games now. They have averaged 6 runs a game.
Well, they're coming off that series too against the Indians, where in the first 3 games of a 4-game series they scored 35 runs. 35 runs, held to 2 in the final game, but no doubt about it, over an extended period of time here, they've been swinging the bats very well, and it starts right at the top with Dozier and Mauer.
One strike to count on Santana. 0-2 on the pitch down. Nice slider right there.
That pitch has been pretty sharp here for Chris. We've seen the strike slider get ahead early, and then we've seen the wipeout slider where he's gotten a number of chases.
And there you go. You get Santana on strikes. Strikeout number 6.
Well, here it is, that slider really never even in the strike zone, but Santana looking to protect, to cover anything, goes after it, and Wilson does a nice job of smothering it.
You know, Wilson's done that 2 or 3 times tonight without a lot of fanfare. Just a quiet major league job back there.
Even right there, just the way that he received that pitch, his hands and wrists are so strong, forearm, that he just doesn't give. You know, you see a lot of these pitches on the fringe will move that catcher's glove. When that ball goes into his glove, that sticks there. And then, like you just mentioned, the blocking ability.
Hand to left, cutting across. Dickerson can't get there. Kiermaier plays the carom. Suzuki's going to go to third. Into second is Dozier. And now the Twins have a threat with 1 out.
Well, we talked about it last night. Brian Dozier, very aggressive, likes the ball up. And boy, does he get to that. Got to one last night and hit it with authority out into right center. This one he hammers into left center. He gets it by Nick Franklin out in left, this close. And then Kiermaier's got to track it down and get it in quick.
And so the hitting streak goes out to 15. It's his 23rd double of the year. You know, Franklin made an effort but could not get there in time, and Kiermaier, nice job of backing it up, playing the carom
and walking a little gingerly back to his position.
Here's Joe Mauer. The Rays lead 3-0. Mauer becomes the potential tying run, and we know what trouble he has been for the Rays and here at the Trop through the years. One and one. Chop to the right side. Forsythe will take the out at first. Suzuki crosses the plate. To third goes Dozier. Now it's 3-1, and there's a case of that leadoff walk becoming a run.
Well, and a leadoff walk at the bottom of the order, which is what you do not want to see. Leadoff walks are bad enough when you're doing it to the 8-hole hitter. You know, that comes back, they trim the lead to 2, still have a runner down there at third base with 2 outs.
Dozier at third base for Max Kepler. He is 0 for 2. Blocked by Wilson.
Yeah, another great job, and that's when it matters. You know, before we notice it, you talk about it. Now it matters. Runner at third, that's a run. And mid-drift got right over the top of it. I love that. That's my new favorite piece of equipment.
We'll take a look at how effective it is.
Again.
And again, right there's a nice cover up.
That's the reason guys, one of the reasons that guys love throwing to Bobby Wilson. Talk about how he just sticks the ball. You talk about sticking the landing in gymnastics. Well, he just frames that ball up nice and great at blocking.
Three balls, no strikes the count. All 4. So it's first and third. So with men at first and third, 2 outs in this 2-run ball game, Jim Hickey's going to head to the mound.
Well, I've seen a couple of walks in this inning, a couple of quick walks. And now Jim Hickey out there to try to calm things down and make sure that Chris Archer can finish off this inning and keep it a 2-run ball game. Miguel Sano, no pushover, and he had a big night last night.
Finished with 3 hits, including the home run in the 8th. You talk about a guy who is strong and can lift the ball. This would be the guy.
Yeah, no question about it. 2 strikeouts on the night here tonight, but Chris Archer still has to execute these pitches.
Xavier Cedeno up in the bullpen. And a nice pitch on the outside corner, strike 1. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Well, Archer now with a 2-1 count. Big pitch to Sano. It's fouled out of play. 2-2.
Oh, and he had a nice swing at that slider. Fouled it off, and now Archer able to put him away. But watch this, the 2-1 slider, and Sano.
Dangerous spot.
Oh, boy.
I mean, he can get extended and lift. That's what he does. Upstairs. Full count. 2 men on, 2 men out. It's a 2-run game. Rosario on deck.
These are one of the moments where you get the feeling this is the ball game. This is it right
Game
now.
pitch.
Yes.
3-2 to Miguel Sano. And a foul ball. He took a big rip at the pitch. Got a little bit of it.
This slider right out over the plate. Yikes.
He's had a couple of those. threw a good one there. They got away with maybe a couple, and on that one he strikes him out. They settled for one. Rays lead 3-1. To one lead. Their first run came in the first. That base hit by Brad Miller scored Logan Forsythe. An 0-2 changeup. Evan Longoria hit it out in the third. Bobby Wilson connected. And a 3-1 fastball in the fifth, making it 3-0. And the Twins got a run in the sixth. Ground ball by Joe Mauer. Got Kurt Suzuki home. He had opened with a walk, and now here's Longoria fouling the first pitch away for a strike. Rios in the mid-90s now in pitch count. There's 96, and it's a strike on the outside part of the plate. Miller next, and then Franklin. Liner into left. There's a base hit to start the inning. Longoria 2 for 3. The Toyota inside look. Longoria and Miller. 20 home run seasons. 24 now for Longoria with a 1 tonight. First pair of Rays teammates to reach that mark since 2012. Upton and Zobrist combined for that. Paul Molitor out to make a pitching change here in the sixth. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Tigers trying to put a little run on since the All-Star break, averaging almost 5 runs a game, have gone 14-6, and they started the day moving to within 2 games of Cleveland. Cleveland win already, so they're 2.5 up. Detroit winning 9 of 10 on that run.
Well, there's going to be some great, or there already are some great races in the American League as you come down for those playoff spots.
Here's Miller hitting a ground ball to second against Boshiers, and the attempted double play will get 1 out at second, and the throw back to first not in time. Dozier to Escobar with a force on Longoria.
Ball wasn't hit that hard. Miller coming out of the box from the left side and hustling. Longoria as good as you could do a takeout slide anymore with the new slide rules. But right here, gotta go. Hustle, stay out of that double play.
Well, Nick Franklin Twins have some more action in the bullpen. Franklin tonight 0 for 2. Dickerson, the DH tonight, is on deck. 22nd appearance for Boshiers. Twins made it a 2-run game with their run in the top of the inning, and the Rays trying to widen it out again. 5 innings plus for the Minnesota starter Barrios. There's the runner, swing and a miss, and a steal. Miller picks up his 5th stolen base of the year, and boy, that was not even close.
Well, that's off the pitcher. High leg kick, and he's going on first movement. Oh, and by the way, he runs on a breaking ball. Twins and Kurt Suzuki in particular had no chance.
Started on that pitch down and did offer on the appeal. Scott Berry says that's a strike.
Breaking ball in the dirt once again, and just a hair too far. It was close.
Trevor May up in the bullpen. There goes Miller headed to third, and the throw, he's in there with a steal. Miller stealing second and third.
It's all on the leg kick. It's all on the leg kick from Boshiers out there. High leg kick right here. That takes a lot of time, and then you see that long arm action. So you combine the high leg kick, the long arm action, and Brad Miller's turning it into his own personal track meet.
Infield now pulls up here. 2-2. A little tap to short. Escobar will come to the plate. Safe. He beat the play. Suzuki thinks they got him. Oh, because he calls him safe at the plate on the ground ball to short. Franklin reaches. And the Rays pick up this extra run. Here it is.
And how about that? Not only does he have to make the slide, you got to avoid the bat that's sitting right there. And that left foot, it forces Suzuki's left foot off the plate. Trying to a block right there to slide over, and Brad Miller's able to sneak in there. And how about that? You're going on contact with the infield in, a great secondary lead, and that's what allowed it. 2 stolen bases, an awesome secondary league. He got deep down that line and then was able to power slide in for the run.
An impressive trip around the bases by Brad Miller to make it 4-1.
Brad Miller's playing the game right now like a man possessed. I think we know why.
There's a base hit by Dickerson on the right. Franklin advances to second and stops, and Dickerson has a base hit off Boshiers. Dickerson with a single off the lefty. And Paul Molitor comes out. Another pitching change coming.
Brad Miller on a trip around the bases because it was pretty special with the hustle. On first base, high leg kick, long arm action, and he's going to steal second base really uncontested. Going to do the same thing here at third, not even close. And then with the infield pulled in, a ground ball to short. A great secondary lead. Look at the head start that he had. And then the power slide around the bat, through the legs of Kurt Suzuki, and off to the bench to high-five teammates.
So the Rays again have a 3-run lead, and Trevor May is the new pitcher, their third of the night.
And he did it a lot quicker than 80 days, Dwayne.
Yes, he did.
80 seconds.
Souza Jr. tries to check. That's a strike. Steven Souza Jr. doubled in the second, was picked off, and a fly ball to left his last time. Chased that pitch, trying to hold up, but went around. 1-1 now. Takes the count to 1-2, fouling the fastball.
Well, listen, Trev May has come in. He's not even messing around. He's trying to overpower him with that fastball. A little bit of a tight spot here, trying to maintain this 3-run deficit.
4 runs charged to the young right-hander, Jose Barrios. Into the dirt. Now a move up to third. The throw's going to be late. Franklin is in there safely.
Okay, I think the word is out. On the base paths, be very aggressive. Nice job by Nick Franklin. He reads the breaking ball right here. He reads it in the dirt, so he is off. By the time Suzuki can recover, watch right there. Look at good secondary, great anticipation, and he gets in. Well, that's a great read there by Nick Franklin.
Wild pitch, charge to May. First and third, one out. Now 2-2 to Souza Jr. The count goes full. It's fouled back. The Rays had Dickerson on the move with the count full. One out in the inning, and Dickerson retraces his steps. Here goes the runner. The pitch is ball 4, and the bases are loaded. 3-2 curveball, and Souza takes it for a walk.
Trev had him, and then he lost him. And now the base is loaded with just one out. The Rays with an opportunity to blow this game open.
Tim Beckham has walked and hit a fly ball to left. Strike one. Into the dirt, blocked this time by Suzuki.
He's had some tough pitches here to work with. Slider, curveball, way out in front of the plate. Had a couple of stolen bases that weren't really on him. He had no chance to throw anybody out.
Into the dirt, bounding away. Down the line from third comes Franklin. He is safe. He got the plate. Franklin scores. That's a wild pitch. The second wild pitch uncorked by May. Here's another look at Franklin down the line.
Trying to be elusive. Right there, that right hand clearly on the back portion, right on the point. Now, was there any tag beforehand? No. Safe. It's a great slide. Great slide.
So the Rays now lead 5-1. Twins took their time to take a look at that play, but the Rays have another run. Count to Beckham goes to 2-1. Boshear's charged with a run now. The Rays start the runners. This pitch popped up. Escobar out there on the infield popping, going to take care of that. So Beckham is retired. Rays with this lead continue to be aggressive. And Bobby Wilson, who homered his last time up, will bat in the 6th inning. He pops it up. Foul ball coming straight back. That's going to be out of play. Two additional runs for the Rays in the 6th. Cedeno's got to get some company in the bullpen. Floro is up throwing. Line foul, out of play. Another look at the home run struck by Bobby Wilson.
Count in his favor. Looking fastball. Got one that was misplaced and kept it fair. Just took out a fan.
Oh, 2 upstairs. Ball, 2 strikes. Cutting a miss. So Wilson out on strikes. We've gone through 6. The Rays had 2 and lead 5-1. This game moving into the 7th inning after adding 2 in the bottom of the 6th. Hustling and diving can be dirty work, and now kids can have a place to store their dirty clothes with the Rays Laundry Hamper presented by Crown Automotive. All kids 14 and under receive the Laundry Hamper tomorrow when the Rays take on the Twins. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Ably displayed by one Todd Callis there, and available to the youngsters tomorrow. Chris Archer gone after 6, and Xavier Cedeno faces Eddie Rosario. First pitch and a base hit Lined right back into center field.
Rosario not wasting a whole lot of time. Xavier Cedeno, you know that it's going to be the cutter, the curveball. It's all about him executing and locating.
Kevin Jepson up in the bullpen for the Rays. And here's Escobar. Ball one outside. Cedeno worked in the game on Tuesday in the Kansas City series and took the loss in a 3-2 final. There's a strike, 1-1. Just a bit wide. 2-1. Polanco will be next with Escobar at the plate. 2-2 on the count. Archer worked 6, gave up a run, and 3 hits. He had 7 strikeouts tonight. And Escobar is out on strikes. Cedeno comes back to get him after giving up the leadoff single.
And after falling behind him and Escobar having the count in his favor, he swings at 2 balls out of the zone to end up striking out. A couple of cutters, one below the zone and this one down and in.
Chops it foul. Center. Kiermaier will go back to make the catch. Two outs with the runners still at first. The hitter is going to be the veteran catcher Kurt Suzuki.
The catcher, Kurt Suzuki.
Suzuki opened the 6th inning and has scored the only Minnesota run tonight. Pitch upstairs. One. Rays with a 4-run lead late, trying to win their 6th game on this homestand, which would assure them of a winning stand. Two and one.
It's been an interesting homestand here for the Rays, and it's gone by pretty quick too. You think about a 3-team homestand, including a 4-game series. They swept the Yankees, lose the first 2 to Kansas City. Wonder if you're ever going to find a way to beat that team. Came back and won the next 2, lost a tough one last night. Seemingly in control here tonight in the 7th.
Well, the count's 2-2. And the game tomorrow left before they head to Toronto. Matt Andriese will oppose Kyle Gibson tomorrow afternoon. So Matt gets another start since moving into the rotation.
Still trying to work and build up that pitch count. Went 4 strong innings his last outing.
Strike 3 call. Kurt Suzuki caught looking, 2 strikeouts for Cedeno. 5-1 Rays. Rays opened the scoring in the very first inning when Brad Miller's base hit gave them a 1-0 lead. They built a 5-1 lead with Longoria and Wilson hitting home runs. Bobby Wilson coming back to the Rays and is 1 for 3 with his home run. Catching tonight, Archer worked the front 6. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, top of the order, Logan Forsythe, and he takes a strike.
Well, the Rays have scored in 4 of the 6 innings that they've hit in, and that top of the 7th quick 0 by Cedeno, very important as they look to close this ball game out.
Forsythe had a base hit in the first that led to the initial run tonight. Down to Trevor May, 0-2. Two and two. Rays got 4 runs off the Minnesota starter. 1 off the bullpen so far. It's out of play, holding the count even. holding it 2-2. Charlie Montoyo trying to distribute a souvenir, and it'll take a second effort. This time drops it right into the glove. Three and two. Fly ball back into right. Kepler's going to go to the wall. Got a chance to go. Out of here. Logan Forsythe with his 11th home run of the year.
And he's proven time and again that he is strong enough to go out to right field, right center field. Trevor May getting the jump 0-2. Logan works it full. Fastball, middle, belt, let it get into the zone. Quick hands, and then carry the other way. It's an impressive shot. Had some height to it, too.
Third home run hit by the Rays tonight. 2 off the starter, and now 1 off May. Here's Kevin Kiermaier. Puts the pitch down, 1-0. Start to get some additional action in the bullpen. Michael Tonkin is loosening. Kiermaier fouls it back. Well, the Rays have 6 runs, 8 hits. They've hit 3 home runs. But you could argue that Kiermaier made the play of the night. Came back in the second when he got Eddie Rosario trying to go first to third on a base hit and threw him out at third.
Yeah, love home runs. I love putting up some runs on the board, but that play, just the way that he took off after it, he didn't assume anything. He attacked that single like his life depended on it, and then made a heck of an athletic throw, moving, towards right field, square the hips, and make the long throw. The way he attacks the baseball and then gets rid of it. Just in time.
And at the time, it was a 1-0 game.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows what happens there? You get a play first and third. All of a sudden, Minnesota's able to put something together, but he ended that threat now.
Full count. Evan Longoria on deck. Into center field. Rosario is there to catch this one. First out in the 7th. Evan Longoria has a 2 for 3 night, including the home run in the 3rd inning, his 24th of the year. Pitch is upstairs. Jepson stays busy in the bullpen. Balls, no strikes. 3 balls, no strikes. Brad Miller on deck. And a strike. And ball 4 brings him back. Evan on for the 3rd straight time. Paul Molitor makes the walk to the mound again. Pitching change coming. Back with the new Minnesota pitcher after this. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer, celebrating 75 summers of living 4x4 ever. By Kubota. To find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rays and the Twins continuing this homestand. Michael Tonkin is pitcher number 4 for Minnesota tonight, making his 48th appearance.
63 strikeouts, 53 in a 3rd innings. Tall, lanky, good stuff, explosive.
Brad Miller goes after the first pitch, got a little piece of it. Well, Miller, who's been on this home run binge, has distinguished himself tonight with his base running. A couple of stolen bases and a quick sprint home against a drawn-in infield. High pop fly into center. Rosario gets there to make the catch. 2 outs. Wrap-up game of the series in the homestand tomorrow. Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll hear from Matt Andriese, who'll make the start for the Rays. Doug Wechter has the kids' demo, the pitching demo on a Sunday demo day. Franklin, strike 1.
I love Sunday demo days. Gets me right where I need to be for the game.
Yep.
Get some mechanics in my mind, get things ironed out.
And it's great viewing for the kids.
Yeah. Learned about, on the Jumbotron here, we learned about maple and ash. Interesting tidbits about the different types of bats, characteristics each of them bring. Hitting lessons, pitching, fielding.
It's the fundamentals.
Yeah, wait, listen. watch my son's team. 9 years old.
Yep.
Could use some more kids Sundays.
I think that's a great idea.
It is.
Programming.
Yeah.
They talk about the game and attracting some of the young players and viewers. That's a perfect way to do it. More of that. Teach how to play this game.
Right. How to prepare for it.
Yep.
The drills to do. You know, there was an interesting, breakdown they did of Evan Longoria and how he gets ready for a game, fielding drills out there at third base. And yeah, take Jack and a couple of his buddies and sit them down in front of the screen and say, watch this. This is the stuff that matters.
We've got another demo day coming up inside the telecast, August 16th. That's going to be the San Diego series.
You know what's going to be awesome about that is I'll be watching that from home. So
that's right. You're going to take a little respite.
Maybe I'll have the team over.
Ground ball. Dozier at second base makes the pickup and the throw. Rays are out in the 7th. A home run by Logan Forsythe makes it 6-1.
When the Rays score 6, you score.
To 1, some news coming from the Yankees guys tonight. You know, since Carlos Beltran was traded from the Yankees, Alex Rodriguez has only had 1 at bat. That was a pinch hit against the Mets. He has not been in the lineup. And with that in mind, there's a press conference tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Yankee Stadium. A-Rod is just 1 for his last 16. His only hit during that stretch coming last Friday night here at the Trop, a ground ball between third and short. 696 career home runs, 4th ever in Major League Baseball history. Whatever happens at 11 a.m. with the press conference, we will update you tomorrow in our Rays Live pregame show. Gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Kevin Jepsen is the new pitcher. He follows Archer 6 and 1 by Cedeno. Danny Santana to face Jepsen. Jepsen, as you know, with Minnesota. Now back with the Rays. And he falls behind Santana. Dozier next, and then Mauer due up. Extended his hitting streak to 15. It's Beckham making the play unassisted. 1 away.
When in doubt, take it yourself. Cut down that extra transfer. the Rays would like nothing more than a couple uneventful innings, get out of here with a win, look to take the series in a quick turnaround tomorrow afternoon. Have to work for it here with the next couple of hitters.
Brian Dozier, 10th appearance for Jepson since coming back to the Rays. 8 of the first 9 have been scoreless. Trying to make this the 9th. Pitch stays up and in to Dozier, trying to throw the breaking ball. Breaking ball again, misses. 2-0.
He's not able to get down and through either one of those breaking balls, out in front, over the top of it.
And we've seen him be a little erratic with that. He's bounced a few.
Yeah.
And the last 2, not quite the bite. There's a fastball in there, and it's 2-1.
I think that is Kevin Jepson trying to make the adjustment. You know, so many of them have been short. You know, he really does yank on that curveball, and we've seen a lot of them, you know, bouncing in front of the plate. So now you try to make the adjustment, and now you're not getting the bite that you want. There's that fine line, that happy medium that right now Kevin Jepson is searching for. Because when he's got the fastball going like that one there, and then he's able to yank down that curveball, boy, oh boy, he is a tough guy out there to face.
2-2. Foul right back. 3 straight fastballs. That one fouled. Joe Mauer is on deck. Base is empty, 1 out. Into center field. Kiermaier going back to the wall. He's there and makes the catch. Momentum carried him into the wall, but he hangs on. Dozier sent that fastball deep into center, and Kiermaier tracks it down.
I'll tell you, he absolutely lives for moments like this. Get on your horse and go, and what a catch into that wall. Boy, oh boy. I mean, it's seemingly every night now that he's making a play. 2 outstanding here tonight.
Some appreciation from Kevin Jepson on that one.
And that left shoulder, you see when he went into that wall full speed. Thankfully, there's a little bit of give, just a hair.
Ball to Joe Mauer. Yeah, you love that all-out play, but there is that little element where you're always concerned. And we saw that earlier with the broken hand. One and one. Well, the run batted in tonight for Minnesota came courtesy of Joe Mauer, a ground ball that got Suzuki home in the 6th. 2 balls and a strike. It's 3-1. It's Max Kepler on deck. Mauer draws a walk. So with 2 outs, a base runner, and Kepler's on his way to the plate.
Number 26, Max Kepler.
pitch is a strike. One ball, one strike. Out in front.
Little wrinkle there. Jepson coming in with a changeup. Find another off-speed pitch that works. That's a beauty.
Fly ball, center field. Right center, look out. Souza cutting in front of Kiermaier. Everybody's okay out there. There's that catch on the drive hit by Dozier. Middle of the 8th, 6-1 Rays. Of the 8th inning.
Well, check out these plays. The jump, the throw. Outstanding defense early. And then how about late? Boy, he's a difference maker.
Without question. And we saw that when he was on the disabled list, how important he was to this club and to this pitching staff. Corey Dickerson, who is the DH tonight, leading off the bottom of the 8th, taking the first pitch outside. Dickerson 1 for 3, singled in the 6th. The count to 2-2. Souza Jr. next, and then Beckham. Floro up again in the bullpen. Dickerson attacks that pitch and misses. So he's out on strikes. Don't forget, Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Todd and Doug will anchor the coverage. We'll hear from Kevin Cash during the manager's press conference. More from the clubhouse. Tom Foley telling Kevin Kiermaier, take it easy out there. Steven Souza Jr. He has himself a base hit and a right. Aggressively makes the turn and hangs on. Kepler up with it in short right field. And Souza Jr.'s on for the third time tonight, giving him 2 for 3 with a walk. Now Tim Beckham. He was on in the second inning with a walk. Otherwise, nothing out of 2. Pitch is upstairs. Ground ball third. Polanco to Dozier, and he could not find the handle. Everybody's safe. Ball hit sharply, appeared to be a double play ball, and the Twins get nothing out of that.
Yeah, that was a perfect double play ball because it was hit so sharply. Polanco does make the play clean. Throw a little bit low, but Dozier thinking about making the throw to first before he secured the ball at second.
So instead of the 8th inning being over, the Rays have 2 men on, 1 out, and Bobby Wilson in the batter's box. It's a strike to Wilson. Ground ball, base hit. Souza Jr. is going to head to the plate. Santana's throw up the line and hits Souza and goes to the backstop. Tonkin's going to have to go after it. Now big turn by Beckham, and he scrambles to get back in to third base. So the Rays get a run. Souza Jr. scores on Wilson's base hit. That makes it 7-1.
Well, fastball out over the plate is hammered right there by Wilson. He's able to sneak it by Escobar. Here's the throw by Santana. It's going to get caught up into Souza.
So here's Logan Forsythe with men at second and third. 1-0 the count. The Rays with another run home. They're not going to charge an error on that. That's a strike. It's going to be a base hit. A run batted in, and second on the throw. Well, he certainly did move up on the throw. So no error charged. Forsythe fouls it. Although Santana's throw hit Souza. A big turn by Beckham. He was about halfway down that third base line, but went back to third, so he did not advance when the ball got away. Forsythe is out on strikes. Beckham clearing the bag, clearing the path to the bag there. And he didn't like the idea that his path was obstructed. Put up a little argument with Tom Hallion, who made the call. There's Kiermaier lofting a high popper on the left side for Escobar, who makes the catch. So out of all that, the Rays get one run and lead 7-1. The Rays lead as we go to the ninth inning, and while we were away, the official score decided to charge Santana with an error in the bottom of the eighth, so that'll be the second error of the night charged to Minnesota because of the error on the second baseman in the middle of that inning. That run is unearned. And Dylan Floro makes his ninth appearance for the Rays, their fourth pitcher of the night. Archer, Cedeno, and Jepson, and now Floro to face Sano. Sano, Rosario, and Escobar due up. First pitch, Sano is down. So Archer in line to get the win here with the Rays up 7-1. Six innings for Archer, a run, one scoreless, and a couple strikeouts for Cedeno. Scoreless inning for Jepson, and now Floro. He finds the zone. It's 2-1. Off the glove of Forsythe, rolling out to Souza. Sano has a base hit to open the ninth.
You had Logan Forsythe shading up the middle, for obvious reasons. Miguel Sano, big power guy, a lot of pull, but he inside out that ball the other way, and Logan Forsythe, a game effort just off the top of that glove.
Rosario by the mound. Forsythe with a little toss, and it goes by Miller. That's going to set up men at second and third. Well, the Rays having a little defensive issue here in the top of the ninth. Trying to get a quick toss for the force at second, and it went right by Miller. Fielder's choice and an error charged to Forsythe.
Yeah, you've got Brad Miller moving across that bag awfully close to Forsythe, and then this quick pitch, and boy oh boy, that's tough. That's tough on both ends. You're trying to get it up near the chest where Brad Miller can handle it, but the area that you're working in is so close quarters. Not a lot of reaction time.
It's Eduardo Escobar. Strike. Escobar with a fly ball to left, ground ball to first, and a strikeout. Fly ball to left. Franklin going back and setting up to make the catch, and the runners will not attempt to advance. Rosario got a little frisky coming off second base, and Sano decided to hang on at third. Just for a moment there, you saw Rosario near no man's land.
Man, that ball's able to be cut off, and Rosario's done. You see it right here. He's assuming Sano's going to try and go. Watch it.
So that's the first out. Jorge Polanco with men at second and third. Too low. A 2-0 count. Andriese and Gibson, the pitching matchup tomorrow. We'll be with you at 12:30. The conclusion of this homestand. Matt Andriese. Ground ball up the middle. Sano will score. Rosario heads to the plate, and the throw is not in time. That makes it 7-3. So Polanco drives in a pair. His 9th and 10th runs batted into the year.
That ball well struck right back up the middle. This is going to bring 2 runs home here, 7-3. You got a base runner at first, and the advice would be to nip this in the bud right now, because you go through a couple more hitters and you're going back up to Dozier, Mauer, and Kepler. You'd like to leave those guys alone.
Jim Hickey's going to go to the mound, and the Rays are going to get some action in the bullpen. So Hickey take a little time here to talk it over. Kurt Suzuki's going to be the hitter, and Alex Colomé now up in the Rays bullpen. So what was a 7-1 game is 7-3. Suzuki walked and scored a run in the 6th, otherwise 0 for 2, and he takes a strike. 2. He's trying to close it out. They need a couple outs. A man at first. Right now, with 1 out. A ball, 2 strikes. Danny Santana's on deck. With luck to get the ground ball here out of Suzuki. Take another shot at a double play. And then the catcher running. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nothing's easy.
That's exactly what's running through the mind of Kevin Cash right now. Ground ball, base hit into right. Polanco goes up to second. Suzuki singles. Well, that's 3 hits off Floro. Kevin Cash is going to come out of that dugout. He's seen enough here. Opposite field base hit. Suzuki going to get by Beckham at first. We'll be back with Alex Colomé when we return. And Jason Whitlock do. Brains to know, the guts to say. That's Colin and Jason for FSN or FS1's new daily sports talk show. Speak for yourself, weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern. Colomé on to face Danny Santana. 4-run game right now, and the pitch is down. This was a night when I'm sure Kevin Cash thought he wouldn't have to go to Colomé, and then suddenly here he is. Strike 1-1. 26 of 27 in save situations. 0-2.
Nasty. Colomé, boy, he is a bulldog out there. Power fastball, power slider. Watch him spin it late break. Unflappable.
Ground ball outside of first, foul ball. Sano and Rosario have scored, 1 out. Polanco's at second, Suzuki's at first. He got him, struck him out. Slider takes care of Santana for the second out. 10th strikeout for Rays pitching.
He's found a better place for it. Able to foul one off down the line, and he gets that one a little bit further in, a little bit further down. And Santana, he's right there, going without the stride, just trying to put that ball in play, but the late action was too much for him.
Well, now it's back around at the top of the order. Brian Dozier, who doubled in the 6th to extend his hitting streak to 15. He's been a hot hitter, and he drove Kiermaier to the wall in center field in the 8th. First pitch is a strike. In the game Thursday. Secured that one for the Rays, and Brad Boxberger. He's up on Dozier, 0-2. Two-strike pitch. Tap foul. So we'll do that again. Twins have scored a couple here in the 9th. 2 on, 2 out. Some cowbell action going right there. A 2-strike pitch from Colomé to Dozier. Here it is. Down. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
4 straight sliders for Colomé, staying away from the fastball up to this point. Brian Dozier, good fastball hitter, likes the fastball up. Seen him get to a number of those in this series, including one off of Chris Archer. You know what kind of heat he has.
One, 2. Capper foul. He did come in with a fastball there.
Maybe just to set up the slider here.
Why not? Dozier 1 for 4 in his career against Colomé. Two and 2. Well, they got ahead 0-2. Now it's 2 and 2. We did see the fastball followed up by the slider. The 2-2 fouls that one. Dozier battling here as Colomé tries to get the final out, trying to make the final pitch of the game. High fly ball, left field. Franklin making the call. Rays win it. Nick Franklin takes care of that fly ball to left end. Twins scored 2 runs in the 9th, and the Rays win it 7-3. 7 runs, 10 hits, an error by the Rays with 5 left. 3-7, 2-7 left for the Twins. Archer 6-15 the winner. Colomé his 27th save. Took 3 hours and 9 minutes to play this one, and the Rays have their 6th win on this homestand. We'll be with you tomorrow at 12:30 for the wrap-up game. For Brian Anderson, Tom Callens, and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats. Hope you enjoyed the telecast. Rays Live, the post game next.